Hello friends, welcome you all to the Target Prelims 2021. Today we are going to discuss some of the very important news from prelims point of view. First news is from history. It is about Goa. Every year 19th of December is being celebrated as Goa Liberation Day. Why it is celebrated as Goa Liberation Day? What are important facts and from whom we got liberation of Goa? These are important facts that we are going to study over here. So first news and first important thing, we are going to discuss every single beat in this particular news. See, Goa Liberation Day is celebrated every year on 19th of December. It was victory of Indian armed forces to free Goa from the clutches of Portuguese. Portuguese ruled Goa for almost 451 years. This number is important. Portuguese ruled Goa for almost 451 years. Here another important bit that you have to remember, on which you could get a question. It is, remember, Portuguese were the first ones to colonize parts of India and were the last one to leave India. That's why this is important. They could ask you a question, which colonial powers were the first one to come in India and which were the last one to leave. So here remember, it is Portuguese who came first in India and who left India at the end. Here another important part, Goa was exclave of Portuguese. What is basic difference between enclaves and exclaves? Enclave, a territory which is surrounded by foreign territory, is enclave, whereas exclave, a territory which is outside of a particular nation, is a exclave. So Goa was exclave of Portuguese. At the time of surrender, the name of Portuguese Governor General who surrendered before Indian Army was Vassallo da Silva. Along with Goa, the another territories that were held by Portuguese were Goa, Daman Diu and Dadra Nagar Haveli. Now how we annexed Goa, it is very interesting thing. Operation Vijay, remember the name of this particular Mohim, its name was Operation Vijay, by Indian Armed Forces was launched. The operation involved air, sea and armed forces which continued this battle for almost 36 hours. Here liberation is historical for Indian territory. Portugal viewed it as an aggression on their soil and against their citizen. So this was first news, historical. Second important news on which you could definitely get a question is Human Freedom Index 2020. This particular point that I am going to discuss over here, you can use it in your essay, where you can see on every index or on every aspect which is being published globally, India's position is slipping with every passing day. Basically it is about all aspect of freedom, where the world is seeing that India is not giving proper freedom to its citizen and all other aspects. So this is basic thing. We'll go for this Human Freedom Index. So what is a Human Freedom Index? It is a worldwide ranking of economic, civil and personal freedom. So first point where you could get a question, Human Freedom Index counts on which kinds of freedom? So basically Human Freedom Index takes into account three types of freedoms. One is civil freedom, second is economic freedom and third is personal freedom. India has the spot of 111 out of 162 nations, which is not a good thing. India's position is 111th out of 162 nations is not a good thing. Here the names of certain important nations on this Human Freedom Index. First one is New Zealand. Its point or its aggregate point is 8.87. Then it is Switzerland 8.82. Third one is Hong Kong 8.74. Denmark 8.73 and last fifth one is Australia 8.68. Then if we go by the least Human Freedom Index countries, the last one is Syria 162 rank 3.97, 161 rank Sudan 4.01%, Venezuela 160 rank 4.08, 159th rank Yemen Republic 4.17 and 158th rank Iran 4.54 points. Now some important data about this Human Freedom Index, who publishes it. This is important part. Here remember, the index was published by American think tank Cato Institute and Fraser Institute of Canada. It takes into account 76 indicators of personal, civil and economic freedoms to rank 162 countries. So 76 indicators are taken into consideration. About India's performance, it is placed India at the 111th spot out of 162 countries. India ranked 94 on the same index in 2019. India is ahead of China and Bangladesh as well as for India. which ranked 129 and 139 on 2020 index respectively. The country's overall human freedom score was 6.43%. Now, going by the data, though China might be far away from India, but as per one report suggested by China, in China, the people below poverty line are just only 3% of the total population of China. And if you go by the economic prowess or the economic strength of China, we can see that China is competing with United States of America, where we lag far behind. We are yet to overcome our South Asian neighbors. So these things cannot be compared. We cannot say that though we are far away from the spot, 111 spot, China is far away from us, but China is a superpower in terms of economy as compared to India. Along with these things, India's performance at some other indexes published by the same is Freedom House report, where internet freedom in India is declining as is being said. The Global Economic Freedom Index 2020, India drops almost 26 spots to 79 out of 105 nations. Then next is about the World Press Freedom Index. Here India ranked 142 on the index out of 180 countries and territories, which is again a very dismal performance by the India. Then next important news is a world news. It is about science and technology. It is about genetic engineering. What this news says, it says the United States Food and Drug Administration has given a permission for first of its kind intentional genomic alteration. Intentional which is based on your own intention, which is based on your choice, where you want to manipulate genetic map or you want to manipulate genetic design of an animal for your own choice to produce more food, to produce more pharmaceutical, to get more important produce. We are making genetic changes into an animal. It is called as intentional genomic alteration. Now here, why this particular is important? Because here this pig, in this particular pig animal, US FDA has given permission to go for intentional genomic alteration. Now here some important things. The pigs are only second genetically modified animals. Remember, pigs are the only allowed second genetically modified animals to be approved for food after genetically modified salmon in 2015. So it means right now salmon and pigs have been allowed to be used as a genetically modified food. Salmon is the first one. The pigs have been engineered to eliminate alpha-gal. Now what is alpha-gal? This word alpha-gal. Alpha-gal is a sugar which is responsible for alpha-gal syndrome. The word is important. Alpha-gal is a sugar which is responsible for alpha-gal syndrome. This alpha-gal syndrome is also called as mammalian meat syndrome. It is erupted after consumption of red meat. It is a kind of food allergy. Basically, this food allergy occurs when lone star tick, a kind of tick, mashi, right? Lone star tick bites an individual and it is responsible for transmission of this alpha-gal sugar molecule, which is responsible for alpha-gal syndrome, a food allergy, which is also called as mammalian meat allergy. It is safe for general population to eat after intentional genomic alteration. It might be sold by mail order. Now, what is this intentional genomic alteration? It allows you to make specific changes to the genome of an organism. It is to be referred as genome editing or genetic engineering, the very common word. Now, what is the purpose of this intentional genomic alteration? Changes in the DNA sequence of an animal may be carried out for research purpose, to produce healthier meat for human consumption, or for producing any other important compound. To study disease resistance in animal, among other reasons, is another purpose of intentional genomic alteration. Then next important is R cluster. What is this R cluster? It is very important economics news. Reliance Industries Limited and BP, British Petroleum, are going to establish R cluster. It is a cluster for gas production. From R cluster, it will be the deepest offshore gas field in Asia. Deepest offshore gas field where we are going to produce natural gas. Offshore means which is located in the ocean. onshore which is located on the coast of ocean. So it is offshore gas field in Asia which is deepest. This is diagram. Now here it is about 60 km from the existing KG D6 control and riser platform. What is KG? Krishna Godavari basin, Krishna Godavari D6 basin of the Kakinada coast. Field is the first of 3 deep water gas project that we are expecting to have in KG D6 block. KG again stands for Krishna Godavari D6 block. Here, why this is important? It is expected to produce around 30 million standard cubic meters per day of natural gas, or about 15% of India's projected demand for natural gas by 2023. The R cluster field alone is expected to have a peak production of 12.9 million standard cubic meters per day, or about 10% of India's current natural gas output rightly. Then next is again about environment. It is about E20 fuel. Recently, the Ministry of Road Transport has given adoption for E20 fuel as automotive fuel. What is E20? Very interesting. E20 fuel is a blend of 20% ethanol with gasoline. It helps in reducing emission of carbon dioxide, hydrocarbons, etc. It helps to reduce the oil import bill, thereby saving foreign exchange and boosting energy security in the India. Then next important news is about infrastructure point, which you are going to read in India book also. It is draft national rail plan. We will be coming to this draft national rail plan recently. We will be discussing this in detail, but here are some short snippets. Indian Railways issued a draft national plan recently. Why it is important? It is expected to create capacity ahead of demand by 2030, which in turn would cater to growth in demand right up to 2050. Also increase the modal share of railways from 20% currently to 45% in freight by 2030. Here we are expected to reduce transit time, that is time required for transportation of freight. Freight means that goods substantially by increasing average speed of freight train. Currently the average speed of freight train is 22 km per hour. We want to increase this average speed of freight train to 50 km per hour. Simultaneously, we are expecting to build high-speed rail corridors we are identifying. Among them, certain high-speed rail corridors which are identified are East Coast High-Speed Rail Corridor, then dedicated East-West Rail Freight High Corridor, and then dedicated North-South Rail High Freight Corridor. Then what is Vision 2024 for railway? It is part of National Rail Plan launched for accelerated implementation of certain critical projects by 2024. What are important Vision 24 rail projects? 100% electrification, that is going for green energy, upgradation of speed, elimination of all level crossings on all GQ and GD routes. Then next important news is about polity. It is about World Minorities Rights Day. Every year this particular 18th December is being celebrated as World Minorities Day. The National Commission for Minorities celebrated World Minority Rights Day on December 18, 1992. It is the same. United Nations adopted a convention for protecting right, liberty, freedom of minorities on 1992, and it was same in 1992 that we constituted National Commission for Minorities. And also we carved out a ministry, that is Ministry for Minority Affairs. It was on 26th of January 2006. Here important thing that you have to remember, the Ministry of Minority Affairs was carved out of Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. This point is important where you could get a question. This is important. It focuses on religious harmony, respect and a better understanding of all minority communities. Here remember, the Constitution of India provides equal rights for all citizens, provision for economically and socially disadvantaged people. The Constitution of India recognizes two kinds of minorities. One is religious minorities, second is linguistic minorities. But most importantly, Indian Constitution do not define the word minority. As we have discussed many times, defining any word is going to affect the definition or is going to limit the scope of that word. That's why the word minority has not been defined anywhere in the constitution. Indian constitution recognizes religious and linguistic minorities. In that we have 6 religious minorities: Muslims, Sikh, Christian, Buddhist, Jains and Parsis are the 6 important minorities recognized by the Constitution of India. Then next important is about a treaty. The Outer Space Treaty and weaponization of the space. Why it is important? Why it is in news? It is very, very important. Before that, first let's go into what is Outer Space Treaty. Outer Space Treaty is a treaty on principles which are governing the activities and use of outer space by states in the exploration and use of outer space, including moon and other celestial bodies. Here, this Outer Space Treaty is the most important basis for international space law. It was initially signed between USA, UK and the former USSR. As of now, 109 countries are the parties to this Outer Space Treaty. 23 countries have signed it but have not ratified it. Ratification, it means approval given by their national legislatures. Like in case of India, if it has signed the treaty, we need approval for this treaty from Parliament of India. Parliament of India must make a law and ratify, that is give assent to this particular law. What are the important key points of this treaty? First, it talks about arms control or arms use in space. The treaty bans or prohibits all states from deploying nuclear weapons or any kind of weapon in the outer space. First. Then second, it talks about ownership of the space. It says that this entire space is a heritage for mankind. It has common use and it should be used for exploration and scientific activities in this space. It cannot be owned by any single nation. It has complete use for entire humankind. It is humankind's heritage and activity. Third, it talks about provision for amendment, and fourth, it talked about provision for withdraw from the Outer Space Treaty. What are the limitations of this treaty? It does not include private players. Second, vulnerability of space assets. Third, no provision to counter space terrorism, and fourth one, lacks central authority and central command. So this is the case. Now, fourth important news is about your topic from General Studies paper 3, which is security, also a topic from Science and Technology. Recently, Raksha Mantri along with Defense Research and Development Organization have handed over 3 DRDO systems to Air Force, Navy and Armed Forces. So what are these 3 systems and what is their significance? We will go into these one by one. Here, the DRDO systems have been handed over to Army, Navy and Air Force. What are those 3 systems? First one is Indian Maritime Situational Awareness System. Indian Maritime Situational Awareness System, IMSAS, is given to Chief of the Naval Staff. Second is Astra Mk1 missile is given to Air Chief Marshal. And third is Border Surveillance System, BOSS, is given to Chief of Army Staff. We will go in details of all these 3 systems one by one. What are these 3 systems? So first we will go about Indian Maritime Situational Awareness System. It is high performance intelligence software system. It provides global maritime situational pictures, marine planning tools and analytical capabilities to Indian Navy. It is jointly conceptualized by Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, Bengaluru and Indian Navy. So this institution must be got in detail. Jointly conceptualized by Center for Artificial Intelligence and Robotics, Bengaluru and Indian Navy. Second is Astra Mk1 missiles. Here Astra Mk1 is the indigenously developed first beyond visual range air-to-air missile. Here Astra Mk1 can be launched from Sukhoi 30, light combat aircraft Tejas, MiG-29 and MiG-29K. It is developed by Defense Research and Development Laboratory, Hyderabad. Defense Research and Development Laboratory, Hyderabad. And third system is BOSS, that is Border Surveillance System. It is all-weather electronic surveillance system. It is designed and developed by Instrument Research and Development Establishment, Dehradun. It facilitates monitoring and surveillance by automatically detecting the intrusion in harsh high climate and sub-zero temperature areas with remote operational capabilities. Then next important news, it is about the information technology. It is about the largest ever cyber attack on United States various government agencies and its offices. It is largest ever attack, that's called as SolarWinds hack. Cyber attack recently discovered in United States, one of the biggest ever targeted against the US government. It is likely a global cyber attack. Here, how the agencies and companies got attacked? Here remember, it is through a supply chain attack. It is also called as a supply chain attack. It means it directly do not attack on US government offices, but it attack on the third party to which US government has outsourced its function, to which US government has said that to carry out these functions. So basically it was attacked on Orion. It was no direct attack, it was third party vendor on whom these attackers have attacked. Here the target was IT management software called as Orion. Orion is owned by SolarWinds, a software firm SolarWinds. Orion has been a dominant software from SolarWinds firms. Right now, SolarWinds firms has almost 33,000 companies as their clients, and the SolarWinds hack has affected 18,000 companies. Just imagine. The hackers gained access to victims via a Trojanized updated to SolarWinds. SolarWinds is a firm. Malware gave a backdoor entry to the hackers to the system and networks of the SolarWinds. Here a Trojan, what is the purpose of Trojan? A Trojan is a malware, which malware means it is a malicious software. A Trojan is a malicious software which is designed to damage, then to disrupt, steal, or in general inflict some other harmful action on your data or on your network. So that's all from my side. We'll keep meeting soon. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Thank you.